Alfa Romeo driver Valtteri Bottas says he hopes Max Verstappen will be challenged this year, but fears the aero-efficient Red Bull looks a bit unbeatable at the moment. Bottas was in Adelaide last weekend for its motorsport festival, where he drove a Holden supercar and Alfa Romeo Group A car. But he didn't hold back when asked if Verstappen could walk this year's championship.
I hope not. I think everybody wants to see good racing. They've had a really strong start, obviously, and yeah, I would do some betting now. Yes, probably would bet on him.
AlphaTauri's Yuki Tsunoda isn't expecting miracles in Melbourne, with the Japanese driver putting his car's pace near the rear of the field. Red Bull's sister team is one of just 2 squads yet to score points after 2 rounds. But while Tsunoda finished 11th in both Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, he told the sports official podcast F1 Nation that his AT03 car's pace is worse than it looks.
Well, to be honest, we're not in, like, for example, P7, P6 in team constructors currently. We see in qualifying especially, consistency is a little bit poor. To be honest, it's like maybe P9, P10 or P8, around there. Depends on the track.
Tsunoda said the squad is expecting strong development throughout the season, but his boss Franz Tost told reporters in Saudi Arabia he doesn't trust his engineers' promises anymore, and that he just wants to see lap time improvements. So Lewis Hamilton may be expected to re-sign with Mercedes for 2024 and beyond, but Red Bull has ruled out a switch in the immediate future. The 7-time F1 world champion is languishing in the W14, a car he feels that he can't connect with. But while Hamilton has previously stated he's proud of his long history with Mercedes, calls have mounted for him to defect for a competitive drive. Red Bull's Christian Horner, however, says he can't see where he would be able to accommodate Hamilton. What Lewis has achieved in F1 is second to none, but we're very happy with the drivers that we have. They're committed as a pair, not only this season, but the next season as well, he said. Frenchman Pierre Gasly will remain just 2 penalty points away from a mandatory 1-race ban after Alpine's efforts to have them wiped failed. Gasly is sitting on 10 points until May 22, meaning that he could sit out a race for his new employer, despite the FIA now only awarding points for unsafe driving, not sporting infringements. But when team principal Otmar Szafnauer asked the F1 Commission to remove sporting infringement-related points from all drivers' records, he found only 3 or 4 of the 10 teams supported it. Some of those who did not admit the reason they are not supporting it was for opportunistic reasons, hoping that something happens to us, he said. McLaren hit the reset button in dramatic style ahead of the Australian Grand Prix, with technical director James Key jettisoned and a new 3-pronged attack reporting to team boss Andreas Stella. McLaren has had a dire start to the 2023 season, with its MCL 60 another Woking flop, and no points scored after 2 rounds. The squad didn't hide the fact it failed to hit performance targets pre-season, with the change in floor regulations catching it out, and promised a major aero upgrade from Azerbaijan. But it's since made organizational changes to bolster its efforts, moving away from a single technical director, with Peter Prodromou its new technical director aerodynamics. Neil Holdy has been promoted to become technical director engineering and design, while Ferrari's former head of vehicle concept David Sanchez joins in January 2024, following an extended period of gardening leave, to be the technical director of car concept and performance. Mercedes is leaving no stone unturned in its quest to transform the W14 into a competitive car, with all elements of the vehicle under investigation to return the squad to the front. The Silver Arrows were expected to fight at the front this year, following 2022's nightmare campaign spent taming its bouncing Bronco, the W13, with just one win in Brazil. But while Mercedes reached its development targets for the W14 pre-season, it wasn't a big enough step compared to its rivals Red Bull and Aston Martin.
So the engineers are busy looking at aerodynamics, they're looking at the shape of the car, things like the side pod geometry, the floor geometry. Have we missed a trick? We're also looking in the simulation world of, are we targeting the right things? Are we pushing the aerodynamics in the right direction? We're looking at the mechanical setup of the car. Are there things there that we're missing?
Williams says it's open to switching power unit partners from 2026, with the squad not locked in to staying with Mercedes. Williams has been with Mercedes from the start of the hybrid era in 2014. But while team boss James Vowles himself came from the Silver Arrows, he says he's not swayed by his Brixworth association. No, we're not locked into Mercedes, he said, and we're still in the process of reviewing. Ferrari will have a slot with Sauber moving to Audi. Mercedes has just Aston Martin. Alpine and Honda have no customers. Porsche has reportedly given up on plans to join the F1 grid from 2026, with the luxury car brand out of time and options. Porsche's discussions with Red Bull regarding a partial buy-in to its F1 operation ended in September last year, closing out its strongest option. But it continued to court alternatives like McLaren. But Porsche has reportedly now given up on its plans to enter the sport, with its need for control a red flag for teams, and time ticking down to the 2026 season, and will instead remain focused on its Formula E and Le Mans hypercar programs. Red Bull has since partnered with American automotive giant Ford, which gives them additional battery expertise, financial clout, and cultural cachet stateside as interest there explodes. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has suggested that practice sessions could soon be a thing of the past, with the Italian keen to further shake up the Grand Prix weekend format. Liberty Media has rapidly revitalized F1 since it took ownership in 2017, with sprint qualifying introduced in 2021 and new technical regulations that promote closer racing in 2022. But Domenicali has suggested the sport could go one step further. I am in favor of cancelling the practice sessions that are of great benefit to the engineers, but which the public does not like, he said. F1 has 3 hours of practice divided into 3 sessions, scheduled at each event in 2023, and it's unclear what these would be replaced with. Former Minardi team owner Australian Paul Stoddart has opened up on the squad's finest moment at Albert Park in 2002, when his countryman, then F1 rookie Mark Webber, delivered 2 points for 5th place on debut, against all the odds, thrilling the fans in the stands. Stoddart owned the Faenza-based squad, now AlphaTauri, from 2001 to 2005, but told F1's official podcast Beyond the Grid of the manic scenes post-race with an impromptu second podium put on.
Mark and I, looking somewhat a little bit nervous, go up on the podium. The crowd is just unbelievable. They've now filled the pit lane. And we've got, I don't know, easy 10,000 people standing out there. And of course, they've got the champagne up there. And they gave us boxing kangaroos, believe it or not, because couldn't give us trophies, and Australian flag and all that good stuff. And then music started.
Spanish capital Madrid may not have a Grand Prix, but it is the new host of the sport's first official exhibition, which was opened last week by F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali. The F1 exhibition, which will be held at the renowned Efema Madrid for several months, features extensive memorabilia, including Pierre Gasly's race-winning AlphaTauri from Monza 2020 and Romain Grosjean's burnt-out Haas from Bahrain of that same year. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.